Hello everyone. We are currently sitting in McCall, Idaho. We're just waiting for the fueler to come out. Once he's here, we'll go ahead and load everyone up and head on our way. While we wait, let's head inside. Alrighty. So before we get out to the aircraft, do our pre-flight inspection and load the passengers for departure, we're going to go over our crew briefing. So today's flight is for the Idaho Air Service flying one of their Kodiak 100s. It's a two-leg trip, and we're going to depart McCall, Idaho with all of our fuel for the trip. The first leg is carrying 2 passengers and 400 pounds of cargo from McCall to the Yellowjacket Ranch. For this flight, we're going to climb up to 9,000 feet, and we're going to depart runway heading to intercept the 031 radial. We'll fly that radial all the way to the Yellowjacket Ranch, where it's a one-way in, one-way out strip. The landing will be done uphill. Once we get to the end of the runway, we're going to go ahead and park near one of their shops, offload their cargo and them. When everyone's clear of the aircraft, we'll depart downhill. We'll have to make a right-hand turn directly after departure to avoid terrain. Then we'll make a left-hand turn, avoid more terrain, and then fly direct to waypoint Salia. This leg will be flown with no passengers, the fuel we got left on board, and we'll be at 10,000 feet. From Salia, we're going to descend down to 8,000 feet to pick up the RNAV X-ray approach into Boise, Idaho. We are currently planning on landing on runway 28 left, as winds are 330 at 9 knots. We will not be using the Microsoft air traffic control, as it kind of sucks. So we'll make sure we avoid any aircraft and do what we need to do to get on our way. So with that, fueler should be wrapping up here. We'll get out to the aircraft and head on our way. I'll see you out there. Okay, everyone. So we are out at the aircraft. We just got done talking with the passengers, getting them all seatbelted in. Rear doors have been latched. And now we're going to go ahead and run through the before start checklist. So our fuel in load has been checked. We RFN our CG. Pre-flight is complete. Tie downs are removed. The ground crew will get the chocks for us once we close the door. Passengers have been briefed. Cabin doors come closed. Then seatbelts. Up front, we are locked. Passengers have already been taken care of. Parking brake is set. And I'll go ahead and turn on the master switch. Got the fans on. Let's go ahead and turn on the avionics.
Kilo Mike Yankee Lima, automated weather observation 2000. Kilo Mike Yankee Lima, automated weather
we don't want to hear that right now. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and turn our nav lights on. Then we want to go ahead and test the separator. Make sure that shows bypass. Let's get over. We'll go ahead and flip the filter on. Firewall gets pushed in. So our power is idle. Props are feathered. Fuel condition is in cutoff. Emergency power is set to normal. Circuit breakers are in. Internal lights are set to normal. And our oxygen system works. We're showing a bypass for the separator. I'll go ahead and turn that off because we will not need it for departure. So that comes through. Then we'll go to our start checklist. We have at least 24 volts power. Our beacon light is on. And ground crew's letting me know prop area is clear. With that, we'll go ahead and close this window up. We'll just shimmy over a little bit so we can see all of our controls. We will not be using ground ground power for the start. So we'll go ahead and put our fuel pump into on. Ignition switch is on. And starter will go into low. Now we're waiting for 14 to come through. There's 14. Now I'll bring it to low idle. Now we're watching the ITT. Alright, ITT peaked, stayed in the green. And we got 54 on the NG, so we got a good start. So now we got a good start. We'll go ahead and turn off the starter and ignition. Bring the prop up to full. And fuel pump goes to standby. Generator and alternator can come on. Now we'll turn our auxiliary bus on. And we'll get the air moving to cool the cabin off some. Alright, so after start checklist, cabin heat, ventilation, and defrost. We just did. Let's go ahead and turn the ATIS back on and see what we got.
Kilo Mike Yankee Lima, automated weather observation 210 Zulu. Wind 237 at 8. Visibility 10. Sky condition, few clouds at 2,400 feet, ceiling 4,700 feet broken. Temperature 8C, dew point 10C. Altimeter 2974. Kilo Mike Yankee Lima, automated weather observation 210 Zulu.
Let's switch that down to the guard frequency. Monitor guard. Alright, and transponder. Go ahead and turn the transponder on. We're going to squawk VFR for this flight. We will not be VFR for part of it though. Our radios and avionics are set. And now flight controls. Move it that way. Good, free and correct in all directions. And so with that, go ahead and turn the taxi light on. Go taxi out to the runway. For today's flight, we're going to go ahead and take off runway 16 out of McCall. This is a beautiful, beautiful place. I've been here. Absolutely gorgeous. So this Kodiak is currently in the mixed cargo configuration, so we got boxes and passengers in the back. We do the tundra tires and the cargo pod. We got 300 pounds of boxes inside the cabin, and we got 100 pounds in the cargo pod. Alright. So straight ahead of us is runway 16, so we're going to make sure we hold short. And we'll go through our before takeoff checklist. Got the parking brake set. So we're going down before takeoff. This is not the first flight of the day, so we can go ahead and skip a couple of tests. Parking brake is set, flight controls are free and correct. The flight instruments are set. So going through our trim, we got the rudder, elevator, and ailerons trimmed up. Which, if you've never flown this aircraft, you definitely need the trim. I'm by no means perfect, and we'll probably see that on takeoff. It is a little tricky to figure out. Especially because you don't see, other than the line on the elevator trim, you have no indication where you're set to. Your rudder trim's right here. It's that little guy right there at the bottom on the left hand side of the center screen. then your left and right trim, there's no indicator. You have no clue where it's at. Going through power level, that's for first flight. We're good there. So our preferred takeoff checks are complete. So moving below the run-up, parking brake is set. Aux pump. Aux pump can go off. Aux pump on. Go ahead, verify fuel's on. Fuel's on. Firewall is in. Harnesses are locked. We're going to use 0 flaps for takeoff. Elevator trim is set. Rudder trim is set. Separator is not required. We're above 4 degrees centigrade. And there is visual moisture. We're going to need it pretty much right after departure. We only have to go 3 degrees down to need it, so we'll go ahead and turn on. Also need pitot heat after takeoff, so we'll just go ahead and flip that on now. So as I said, we're not going to use air traffic control today, so we're going to go ahead and do a quick check. No one on our right, and no one on our left, so we are cleared for takeoff. We do got the frequency set to the fields. Not hearing anyone talking. Altimeter is set. Autopilot is configured for as far as we're going to use it right now. We'll go ahead and turn on our landing lights. Because of the low clouds, we're just going to put it in the on position. We're not going to put it in the pulse. So then taxi light can come off, and strobe lights can come on. So our prop is set forward. Now bring our mixture up. So fuel control is now set to high idle. We release the parking brakes. Now we'll taxi onto the runway. Alright, so now that we are lined up, go ahead and get our heading set to runway heading. Bring the power up to about 300, make sure it stabilizes. And we'll go to max torque. Alright, we are stabilized. Right. Please release the brake, and we'll go up to max torque. There's rotation speed. Let's start pulling back. They're off. Coming through 85 now. Go ahead and maintain that. Here's the RDAM for the right foot right there. Autopilot turning on. Vertical speed and heading are now activated. Let's go ahead and maintain this current heading. We're looking to intercept that 031 radial out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and pitch for a climb of 110 knots. So I'll go through our climb checklist. Flaps are up. Yaw damper is on. Our fuel pump can come down into the standby position. And we're going to go ahead and begin a left turn. We're about to start intercept. Go ahead to 040. See how that gets us. We're going to, looks like we're up to 9 degrees now. We're going to go ahead and turn off the separator. We are going to leave the pitot heat on. Fighting lights stay on, and we will not need oxygen. Climbing a little slow. I mean, we're a little fast in our speedwise, so we'll go ahead and start climbing a little faster. And now we'll go ahead and let the airplane fly the nav and carry on our way. Alright, so here we are at cruise. 9,000 feet. We got prop staying at 2200 and we brought the throttle back.
Southwest 69er, 81 heavy in sight.
And we're showing that we are about 7 minutes out from landing. See, we got some terrain here.
Salt
This
Lake
is
Center
what we're
WestJet
talking about.
1422 is passing 6,200
We do have an
feet,
outside air
climbing
temperature,
flight
of
level
course. We are
180.
going to switch back to bypass. We'll drop our torque down
WestJet
just a little bit.
1422,
So
Salt
we'll
Lake
maintain
Center
enough speed
altimeter,
that I'm not concerned.
29.72, continue as planned.
Once again, this is a really gorgeous area. This first synthetic vision really pays off. You can kind of see the terrain through these clouds. I would not want to try and land just synthetic. Well, so now if we look over on the center display, we can see our little airplane. Straight ahead of us is the airport. Just kind of a little bit of valley. The airport's going to be about 5,000 feet below us. So since it is about 5,000 feet below us, probably will descend about 15 miles out. We're getting close to, but we don't want to descend too fast. So normally we'd begin our descent right about now, but due to the terrain, we're going to glide in a little bit closer and then drop down. Alright, I'll see you guys a little closer to the airport.
Salt Lake Center altimeter, 29.66, continue as planned.
Alright, so we did switch over to have following the GPS from the VOR. And we're just about to begin our descent now that we're coming over the peak here. Our pitot stack is going to stay on, separator will be needed for now. Radios are set, approach procedures, there are none. Landing lights are on, power set. So we're going to go ahead and work our way down.
Southwest 69er, 81 traffic in sight. United 249er tree has a Boeing 737 in sight.
Like I said, this airplane is very trim heavy.
United 530
Trigger come down,
traffic in
fuel
sight.
selectors we know are on because we did not touch them. Can bring our throttle back. Fuel shut off is
Southwest
on.
69er 81 contact Seattle Center on 123.95.
Fuel pump will go on.
Good day.
Fishing lever is high. Props are set to maximum. You bring our throttle back some more.
123.95 for Southwest 69er
Get some
81.
more neutral trim here. Alright, so we want to get slowing down below 130 so we can start putting in our flaps. Just a little bit more neutral trim. I'll really need to learn the front key for that.
United 530 traffic is 11 o'clock, 4 miles at 7,200 feet, Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
Alright, so we are way too high to
United
even, I'm not even going to try this
traffic
approach,
is
so we're going
11
to end up
o'clock,
flying
3
over the
miles
top
at
of it.
8,300 feet, Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
Right now, we're pretty much right on top of them. where we want to be.
United 530 traffic alert.
So
12
we're below
o'clock, less than 1 mile,
130.
6,700
But
feet,
add that
Boeing
first notch of flaps.
737.
Next notch will go in at
Report them
115.
United 249er tree traffic in sight. United 530 have the Boeing
So it looks like on landing we will
737
have
in
about a 5-knot tailwind. We'll have to keep that in mind. Still need to come down about another 1,000 feet to make me happy. Let's begin our turn. And go ahead and add 20-degree flaps now. Low 105 is where we can add in 30. So how we're going to come in is off our left wing tip there. There's those two ridges. We're going to pretty much come in right in between the middle of them. So this is going to be a downwind. Then the airport's right below our left wing there on the hillside. Can't see it now, you'll see it real soon.
United 249er tree traffic is 9 o'clock, 4 miles at 5,900 feet. Report them in sight.
So once we come up on this ridge line, we'll go ahead and begin our left turn.
United 249er tree, heavy in sight.
And we'll go ahead and drop 30 degrees of flat. Now we want to try and maintain 85 coming down. And as soon as we land, we're going to need to be on the brakes, hit reverse thrust. It is uphill, so we're going to try not to roll backwards to the best of our abilities. And since we are off-road, we're going to be landing off pavement. We do want the separator on, and it's showing bypass. So just do our final checks. We got flaps 30, fuel high, prop high. I'll just, need to give it a little bit more speed here. We're getting a little slow. 75. A little slow. Right, and the field is down here below us. Alright, I have the runway inside. Runway is pretty much straight ahead of us if you can't see it. The sun's washing it out a little. Getting a little slow. Let's go ahead and bring the speed back up. Watch out for these trees. And it's kind of a steep approach once you clear this ridge. Bring the throttle back. Now we're coming down fast.
United 530 contact Seattle Center on 123.905. Good day. for United 530.
There we are. We didn't even roll backwards, so I'm pretty happy. We're gonna stop right here for their request. Parking brake is set. So after landing, when I come down to low idle, and I already know we gotta watch the IT for a minute, so we'll go ahead and feather that. That way we get a good minute in. So taxi light we don't need because we're already on the ground. Landing light can go off. Strobes can go off. Flaps can come up. Fuel pump can go off. Keto heat's off. Cabin lights will stay normal. And separator we will leave on bypassing through here on the grass. So going down to shutdown, spring brake is off. We'll go ahead and turn our air conditioning off. We'll go ahead and turn off the auxiliary bus. Power level is idle. Prop is feathered. The gen and alternator can now go off. Clear that caution. So our turbine temperature is stable. We should have been here for about a minute. So go ahead and bring that down into the cutoff position. Engine is cut. Fuel selectors can go off. Silent app. Avionics can go off. Master switch can go off. And lights, beacon, and nav. Alright, let's go ahead and hop off the airplane, put our passengers out, and I'll see you out there. Alright, so we have offloaded everyone. Now we're just taking the scenery. This is a really awesome strip. It definitely takes some practice to get into. So we'll go ahead and hop back in the airplane, fire it up, and head on out to Boise. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so here we are back in the aircraft. Let's get the door closed. Latched. So running back through our checklist. Fuel is good. We should have about 800 pounds on board. We are the only passenger, not concerned about center of gravity. Pre-flight is complete. We do not have tie downs, no passengers, cabin doors are latched. Seatbelts. We are latched in. Parking brake is set. Go ahead and turn the master back on. Master's on. We hear the fan going. Then we want to go ahead and turn the nav lights on. We do need the separator on, so we'll leave it as is. Now go ahead and turn the fuel selectors on. Fuel cutoff is pushed in. We got emergency and normal, throttle idle, prop feathered, and cutoff is cut off. Circuit breakers are in, and turner lights are set to normal. Go ahead and check the oxygen. Should have full tank, and we do. Alright, so now we're going to be good for startup. Go ahead and close this window. Flip the beacon on. Once again, I'm going to shimmy over. And so go ahead and turn our fuel pump on. The ignition goes on. And we're using a low start with no ground power. So again, we're watching for NG to come above 14 to give it fuel. There's 14. Go to low idle. ITTs come through 500. So you look like the peak at about 720 and change. And we got 54 on the NG, so we got a good start. And since we got a good start, we'll go ahead and turn the starter off, ignition off, props up to full, generator, and alternator. Now let's hop back over to our seat. Our fuel pump will come down to standby. And our avionics and oxygen can come on. So cabin ventilation we'll go ahead and take care of once we get off the ground because it does pull from our torque available, and this is going to be a short field takeoff. Altimeter, we are going to use what we had when we left McCall because that is the closest weather reporting station. And now I'm going to list transponder We never took off altitude, so we are still showing altitude mode. So we're good there. Radios and avionics are set. Well, actually, we want to switch nav 1 over to the Boise. And for avionics, I guess we do actually need to put in our new flight plan. Coming in here, we can clear. Oh. Come down. Go to Salia. That is our only waypoint right now. Then we want Boise. Then, like I said, we are our own air traffic control. We'll monitor the game ATC. We are not going to follow it. So we will go ahead and load up our approach into Boise. That is not the approach we want. We want the RNAV to X-ray to 28 left. Yeah, camel. That is the one. So I'm going to go ahead and load that in. Flight plan is complete. We probably won't have any nav data right away. Let's set that to GPS. Set that one to nav 1. Alright. And for this flight, we are going to want to go up to 10,000. 10,000 is set. Vertical speed, we'll go ahead and program in at, say, 1,000 feet per minute. That'll probably end up changing. We will want some forward trim and some right rudder. We're going to need more right rudder than that. And more. That's too much. That should be close enough. Alright, so going through the before takeoff checklist. We got our parking brake set, flight controls. We do need to check still. That one goes down. And that one goes down. Hold it back. Forward. Alright. Flight controls are free and correct. Trims are set. Then we go ahead and turn that fuel pump back on. Fuel selectors are green. Fuel cutoff is in. Wing flaps. Definitely need those set to 20. Rudder trim is set. Wing trim set. Elevator trim set. Separator is required. There's 13 degrees. We will not need the pitot static, which will save us some torque. And now we are going to step outside for the turnaround, because I'm not confident in my abilities to turn this around otherwise. And this probably is not authentic, but we're actually going to use some reverse thrust. Push us where we need to be. I want to give it a little bit of left rudder, get face towards the direction of travel we want to go. Now we'll go ahead and set that parking brake. Now we are face down the runway. Beautiful view. Then we'll go through your rest here. So come down, radios and avionics are set, altimeter is set, autopilot set, transponder is set and on altitude. Landing lights are on. Strobe are on. Taxi lights are off. Prop is all the way forward. Go ahead and bring that mixture all the way up. Got high idle set full to the wall. We'll wait for everything to stabilize. And now for our short field takeoff, the procedures are line up and brake. Check flaps 20. Flap 20, tram is set. We will slowly apply takeoff power, which is going to be maximum torque. Then we'll release the brakes when we are set. Double check the engine instruments and annunciators. We're going to rotate as soon as we hit 60 knots, and we're going to try and climb about 73 knots. As you can see, we got this giant mountain in front of us, so as soon as we get clear of these trees and lifted, we're going to bank hard right and fly out of here. So then we'll have to turn almost immediately left to avoid the other mountain. Then once we can, we're going to do a normal climb at 85, 95 until we get cleaned up. Once we get cleaned up and we are clear of obstructions, we'll get resumed with autopilot following the GPS track into Boise, and we'll climb at 110. We will still use 2200 RPM for our climb out, which at these altitudes we'll just want to make sure we keep.
Salt Lake Center Delta 689
We want to make sure that we keep our
8,900 feet, climbing flight level 370.
on about 1100.
Delta
So with that,
689
we are clear
Salt
for
Lake Central
takeoff.
altimeter 29er
So let's slowly put on our
62
takeoff power.
continue as planned.
Alright, we are stabilized. Brakes are off.
Delta 689er contact Salt Lake Center on 132.4. Good
Hit
day.
the trees. Okay, there's 60. Bring it up and bank it right. There's 73, so let's pitch up.
Going to 132.4 Delta 689er.
We are clear of that terrain. We'll drop the nose down so we can start to accelerate out. There's, oh, we almost at it. There's 85, so bring flaps to 10. Begin turn left. There's 95, so bring flaps to 0. Now we will try and get ourselves stabilized. And right now we're fly the valley until then. Up the rudder. Let's go ahead and get ourselves set up for success here. Set the heading bug to our current heading. Activate the autopilot, which will be the weird Microsoft Flightsim autopilot. Vertical speed we were doing about 1400. Autopilot's in command. That's about right. We need some left rudder here. Let's give it some. Now it's a little bit too much. And we need more. It's a finicky little plane. Alright, so let's get turning on course now that we are going to be free of everything. So it looks like Boise VR just picked up, so we'll fly the radio direct to that. Then we'll go through our climb checklist. So flaps are retracted, yaw damper is on, fuel pump can go to standby, heater not needed right now, but we will need it soon, so let's just go ahead and activate it. We will go ahead and get our air conditioning unit back on. Separator, we'll leave it on for now. See how cold it gets at 10,000 and how close we are to these clouds. Landing lights will stay on for the duration of the flight, and oxygen is not required. Altimeter, once we can, we'll get a better one. I'll go ahead and talk to you guys once we get up to cruise. So here we are at our cruise altitude of 10,000 feet on our way to Boise. As you can see, it looks like we're right at the base of the clouds. Hopefully these clouds start to disappear, but we'll find out. Under a cruise checklist, we are at 2 degrees outside and visible moisture, so we do need our pitot and bypass turned on. Oxygen is not required. And then for our cruise, we're going to want to be about 1050 to 1100 on the torque, running 2200 RPM for 75% power, which is what we're at. So top of descent, we only go down 2,000 feet, so we'll begin our descent about 6 miles out from the RNAV X-ray pickup point. Then on our descent, we won't have too much to do. Just check the static and the separator, make sure our radios are set, and review our approach. So then, I will see you guys once we get descending into Boise. Alright, welcome back. So, we just picked up the weather information in Boise. Altimeter is 29.80. And they're currently doing a visual to 28 flat. So we're going to make some changes to our flight plan here real quick. So, let's actually go ahead and switch over to heading home right now. Heading. So coming into the flight plan, we're going to go direct to
Boise Tower, Alaska 2168 is going missed. Alaska 2168, contact Boise approach on 119.6.
yeah, we're going to go direct to this waypoint
Good
right
day.
here.
119.6 for Alaska 2168.
So we are going to be 24 miles out from that. At the door, and we'll be at 5,500 feet. So we want to go down 4,500 feet. This is 4.5 times 3. It's about 15 miles out. We want to begin our descent. And our descent will probably be at about 800 feet per minute. You can see it's a little cloudy, a little rainy in spots. Boise is reporting 3 miles visibility, scattered at 9,900, tops at 15,000. But they're stating they're using visual approaches. In which case we'll keep everything loaded up, just in case we have to use the instrument approach, but we'll go ahead and plan on doing the visual approach into Boise. So in about 5 miles, we'll go ahead and begin our descent, so I start running through our checklist. So pitot static, we will still need on. Separator, we will still need on. Oxygen was not required. Radios and avionics. So we currently have one of the Boise Tower Channel program. We got Guard and ATIS on count 2. We got our approach loaded in the center screen here. Landing lights are up, and power is still set to cruise. So, the one thing I don't like about this area of the game is, for some reason in parts of Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, the satellite imagery has clouds, and they traipse over the scenery in the game. You just get these whitish green trees everywhere. And I've only noticed it in these parts of the country. I haven't noticed it anywhere else. When I fly on the East Coast, I haven't seen it. It's only up here in the middle of nowhere. I'm just assuming Microsoft thinks no one's flying Kodiaks out here, but then I came across flying Kodiaks out here. So here shortly, we'll go ahead and begin our descent. So let's start getting that programmed in. So we're at 5,500 feet. There's 5,500. Let's get our heading bug lined up with us. Let's see, so our ground speed is 150, so 150, so we want to go ahead and descend to about 700 feet per minute actually. We got 700 feet per minute on the descent. We're going to go ahead and maintain our current power settings while we're getting close to red line. As we go to the approach, we want to keep it under 180 knots. That should not be a problem considering red line at about 170, so we should be able to achieve that. Pretty much. So once we get to a door, we'll pretty much be flying a curve into the runway. Now we can go through some clouds. Let's make sure our seatbelts are locked. Those selectors are set to on. We don't got to worry about any passengers because there are none. We talked about approach. So then once we land in Boise, we're going to be going to the Charlie Terminal, parking at gate 9. And then the next crew will pick it up from there. But I'll see you guys when we get a little closer to the airport.
SkyWest Tree 831 to contact ground on 121.7. 250 4 miles east inbound ILS runway 28 right approach. SkyWest 5244, contact Boise approach on 126.9er. Good day. Horizon 2502 Boise Tower. Altimeter 29er.80, wind tree 16 at 1 tree. Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach. 121.7, SkyWest tree 8 tree 1. Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach, horizon 2502. SkyWest 5244. Boise Airport information, Yankee 2200 Zulu. Wind 316 at 1 tree. Visibility, tree. Sky conditions, ceiling 9,900 feet broken. Temperature, 10. Dew point, 10. Altimeter, 29er.81. ILS runway 28 right and visual runway 28 left in use. Landing and departing runway 28 right and runway 28 left.
Definitely have that ceiling
VFR
on.
aircraft say direction of
we're at
flight. All aircraft
6,800
read back
feet
hold
and
short instructions.
can't see a thing.
Advise controller on initial contact you have
Watch
Yankee.
for 9,900 feet. But we do
Boise
have
Airport
altimeters at
information, Yankee 2200 Zulu. Wind 316 at 1 tree. Visibility, tree. Sky
Go ahead and start
conditions,
slowing
ceiling
up.
9,900 feet broken. Temperature,
When it starts
10.
slowing up to 130, so
Dew point,
we're our first
10.
round flaps.
Altimeter 29er.82.
Just like before,
ILS runway
first round
28
flaps
right and
at
visual runway
130,
28 left.
20 degrees goes in at 115, and then 35 degrees goes in at 105.
Aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Tower. Advise controller on initial contact you have 85.
Why are they talking over each other?
Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach. Cleared ILS runway 28 right approach, SkyWest
Even
5454.
we are fairly high, so let's go ahead and send in a little bit faster. Send at 1,000 because we are running a bit high here. Hopefully, wow. Look at that, we popped through the clouds. With that, I'm going to go ahead and pick out the autopilot and go ahead and fly this visually. Now that the weather magically improved, good old Microsoft Flight Simulator for you. Let's see. Need some left rudder. And we also need to still drop some speed so we can get some flaps in. 140. Start our turn. Alright, there is 130, flaps 10. 15, flaps 20. And we're high, 105, flaps 30. There we got our props all the way up. Mixture all the way up. We already turned off the separator. And the feeders because we don't need them. We need our speed up now. We're going too slow. I want to maintain about 85 knots coming in. Give it some upward trim. We got to do a little work. A little bit more left rudder. Right down the throttle. high, but we're looking good.
Clear to land runway 28, right sky west 5454. Boise Tower, horizon 2502 is going missed.
I don't know why they're
Horizon
going missed.
2502 contact Salt Lake Center on 118.05. Good day. Horizon 2502.
And we got touchdown. We do not need reverse thrust. We got plenty of runway. So when we go out to the C terminal, we'll go ahead and just let ourselves taxi up to the next taxiway. Go ahead when those flaps up. And we'll get the after landing checklist ready. While we're taxiing, we'll go ahead and bring this back to low idle. Let's try not to taxi too far or stray. Alright, I already see our gate next to what looks like a King Air. We'll go ahead and stop right here, finish our after landing checklist. We got the parking brake set. Crew lever is set to low idle. Tech sets go on, landing lights can come off, strobes can come off. Flaps are up. Ox pump can go
Skywest
off.
5454, turn next taxiway.
Speedos and separator are off. So I don't know where Sky West is. I'm gonna get told next taxiway. They're not down there, so they must be down here somewhere, but I don't see them.
Skywest 5454, turn
Let's
next
just
taxiway.
turn to the right a little bit. Looks clear, so we'll go ahead and taxi across. I don't know where Sky West is. Ah, it looks like they're behind us. On the map, there's an airplane down. Plane on 28 left, even though he said he was going in for 28 right, so. Who knows this game? So it looks pretty bright out. We don't want to blind the rampers as we come in, so we'll go ahead and turn those taxi
Skywest
lights off.
545 for exit runway when able.
Throttle back. A little bit beta. Slow us down some.
Skywest 545 for exit runway when able.
Alright, we're going to hit C9. That's going to be this one right here. Don't know why I always come in a little wide. I get that lined up with the back door. That should be pretty close. Alright. Parking brake is set.
SkyWest 545 for exit runway.
I want to go
When
ahead
able.
and turn the air conditioning off. Turn the aux bus off. Tower set to idle. Prop can go to feather.
SkyWest 545 for contact ground on 121.7.
Oh, that's feathered. Gen and alt go off. Gotta wait approximately 1 minute. Start doing that. We'll go ahead and clear up the flight
121.7
plan.
for SkyWest 5454.
The next crew will appreciate that. The landing is cleared. Turn off light. Y'all. And got our nav and our beacons on. Off, off, off. Circuit breakers good. Prop spinning, just waiting for shutdown. We'll go ahead and turn avionics off. We won't need that. And it's been pretty close to 1 minute, so let's go ahead and pull fuel back. Oxygen wasn't turned on, so we're good. Fuel selectors off. Let's silence that. Firewall off. We'll unlock the seatbelts. Then then lights off, off. Master switch off. Controls we will not be tying down. Alright everyone. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.